Hi, my name is Joel. A few weeks ago I made a video intending to show that drums don't sound the same recorded as they do in the room when you're standing in the room with them. And it was well received, and I got a lot of great comments and feedback, much of which has kind of been mulling around in my head for the last couple of weeks, making me realize I need to probably do a follow-up. I think one is in order, and this is it. So basically, the first video was a result of just kind of a spur of the moment thing. I was working on a project with a friend of mine, producer. We were working on drum sounds, and he made the comment that, you know, man, drums just never sound on a recording like they do in the room. And I thought that'd be an interesting video. So I made that video, and the sound that I used for that video was the sound that we were using for that session. When we had developed that session, you know, we were done recording it and everything. I came back the next day, everything was already set up. So I just used that sound. I just hit record and showed that indeed the finished sound was nothing like the original sound in the room. And that kind of has stuck with me, like maybe that wasn't the ideal thing to use, because the ultimate sound, the processed sound, is a very manufactured sound. It's very, very muted, muffled, and then it's really EQ'd for attack and spanked with compression to give it kind of an artificial bit of length and authority. And I just thought, you know, I ought to do that again and use a setup that's more normal for me. I'm not really a dead drum guy. The guy that I was doing the work for loves really dead drum sounds, and it's a fairly common thing that I do for him. I myself tend to tune things a little more wide open, no muffling, that kind of thing. So I've done this again with a different set. This is a late 70s Ludwig's, my favorite red sparkle kit that I love. It's a 24-inch kick, 24x14, a 13x9 tom, and a 16x16 floor tom. It's a Tama Rosewood 6.5-inch snare drum, which come to think of it, it was my Rosewood Mastercraft Tama that I used in the first video. And this is a later 90s Rosewood snare drum, also from Tama. Interesting. The drums are tuned without muffling, so you'll definitely notice that. The processed sound, I've actually done two variations of processed sound for this one. And I may follow this video up. Let me know in the comments if you want me to. I'd be happy to kind of show you what I did processing-wise, because I did get a few comments of people saying, what's your signal path, and what mics did you use, and all that kind of stuff. I actually took some liberties because of this video. I thought, I'm going to do kind of a Steve Albini-ish sort of thing, just sort of merging what I know of some of his techniques with sort of my approach and kind of coming up with something that's a little more natural sounding in its presentation. And the reason I did that is because a couple of guys mentioned in the comments how Steve Albini captures really natural drum sounds, and they're really big fans of that. One thing I'll say about Steve Albini, I really, really like his approach to capturing drums, and that's an interesting verb, and I'll probably hit on that again in just a second, because that's not really what I would say is what he actually does. He tends to sort of stay out of the way, it seems, of the drummer and the drums themselves. Like, he's not out there with a key tuning them and doing things to them. Instead, he's really just listening, and listening really seems like to the room, whatever room he's in. Like, he did the Nirvana record at Pachyderm. I don't know where he did the PJ Harvey record, and then like Pixies and some other things that I've heard. All the drum sounds on those records are really quite different. People talk about the Steve Albini sound. I don't know that he has a sound. I think he has an approach. And the approach seems to be to capture the space, or the sense of the space that drums are in, and keep it three-dimensional and feeling real. To do that, he's using a lot of microphones and a lot of processing. So it's not really like just setting up a couple of mics and capturing it. That's the problem that I have with the word capture. But he does capture the essence of that vibe. He just uses a lot of mics and processing to do that. So he has an approach to capturing, recording drums, whatever. So what you're going to hear in this video, you're going to hear four things. First of all, you're going to hear the in-the-room perspective from the binaural mics, the Jacklin disc. And that is placed in the same position like it was in the first video. Basically, the middle of the snare drum through the middle of the bass drum, a couple of feet past the bass drum, and there they are at head level. That'll be followed by all of the mics being used and blended, but no processing on any of them. Just fader balance to kind of capture sort of the feel of being in the room with the drums, but everything's still having its place and its articulation. Then you'll hear basically that with processing to make it nicer, smoother, more refined version, something that I would probably actually use in a mix. Then that's followed by a more typical rock mix of drums, less natural room, a little bit of artificial ambience, noise gates and things like that. There are no noise gates on the natural processed. So what I'm calling it is in the room, all mics raw, no processing, then all mics processed, and then typical processing. And so it'll go one to another, and then back down again, so you can kind of see the addition of processing and things, and then see it sort of kind of coming back to just the two mics in the room, and then back up again. So anyway, that's it. So enjoy. I appreciate you watching this very much. Again, if you like this kind of content, if you think this is worthwhile and worthy of watching, I would love for you to subscribe and be a consistent part of this, and also to share it with like-minded people. That's it. Thanks for watching this. I really, really do appreciate it. Take care.